So I definitely don't want to get theoretical about the topic of change, or heady, or too many ideas, abstract ideas about it. I'd much rather, in a way, point to the experience of awareness that comes out of meditation and mindfulness that allows you to be more aware of change. So there's something that can happen, and maybe you've experienced this yourself, that when you meditate or you sit quietly being mindful, there's a sense of cohesion in yourself. You come together, and there's a sense of you're all here, rather than bits of you, ideas flashing off, jumping off, hopping off, emotions sparking about different things, restlessness. That the meditation somehow or another, in some mysterious way perhaps, just deals with that over time. And you start to feel just more whole in your experience, with just sitting quietly in the meditation, or being reflective, or doing some task. And there's a sensitivity that arises in that of what's happening. And in that, there can be this rise and fall of noticing things that are uncomfortable and comfortable. So I'm following on really from the meditation here. And when you're in this more absorbed, cohesive, integrated state, it has the quality of just being okay when things are not okay. And I'll say more about that in a moment. And staying quite sort of with it when things get really enjoyable and delightful and happy. So rather than getting all excited, oh, I've done it, I must be enlightened. You know. And my first class as well, amazing. That's sort of just taking it in. And I'm gonna go back for a moment to the thing about noticing when things are uncomfortable and being okay with that. And this is it. It's in a way, it's not a psychological state. It's more a state that comes out of the meditation, which allows you just to be completely relaxed and open with what's happening without reacting to it, without getting into a lot of mental hyperbole about it. Oh, it's terrible, I'm going to die. Or I need to see the chiropractor, or I've got a splinter, it's terrible. You know, all the kind of mental things that happen about something that feels uncomfortable. And that the meditative or mindful state allows you just to be very clear about what's happening, and if anything does need to happen. You know, sometimes you oddly enough, it might be that your back's hurting, but just adjusting your pelvis might make a really huge difference. You know, it's not, chronic. It's just the situation. So you become clearer about what's happening and what would be helpful, if anything, either in the moment or later. And you start in that moment to notice patterns that you have of catastrophization or giving up or just getting upset, getting anxious, you notice patterns, and the mental state of openness allows you in a way to let go of all of that. It goes, oh yeah, I'm doing that again. And it just sort of goes more to the periphery. In a funny kind of way, you don't even need to do much at that point. The even-mindedness is a very positive, full, rich state of mind that in some way just has a perspective on all this mental chatter and emotional responses to things. It goes, not relevant, not relevant. And it just stays in touch, but calm and positive, and if need be, responsive to the situation. So this even-mindedness is not a sort of neutrality. It's not a cut-off state. It's very vital, it's very open, very vibrant. And it notices the rise and fall of pleasures and dissatisfactions and pains coming and going without getting all excited on the one hand or irritated on the other. It just follows that movement, the changes. So it becomes really clear from your own experience that things are changing. So I finally got there, impermanence. That's the topic. But it's not, at this point, it's not theoretical. It's not in your head going, oh, everything's changing, I'm changing, civilizations come and go, It's not on that level. It's much more noticing, so what was uncomfortable 10 seconds ago, actually, because I relaxed, it's actually all right now, or I feel all right with it. So it's changed because, and this might be a little insight, I didn't hold on to it, or I didn't, make a commentary about it. And because I didn't, I could just relax with it. And, there can be times in one's life where there can be quite a lot of difficulties, physical trauma, emotional difficulties, loss, and conflict even. But the more that you experience this very positive, even-minded, equanimous state of mind, over time, the easier it is to actually deal with all those things. So that in a sounds funny to say it, I know, but the more that you get into this even-minded, positive equanimity in your meditation, the more suffering you can take without it really throwing you. And I think the first time I noticed that was on retreat, and it really struck me. Actually, it seems paradoxical. Here I am, meditating, but actually it allows me to take in these difficulties at a deeper level than I would have before, because I would have just cut off or got anxious and so on, and cut off that way. So in a way, this even-minded, equanimous state of mind gives you capacity and resilience in the face of all those more difficult things. Sometimes you might be going along and everything's fine, and then something happens and you injure yourself, and it might be really quick, and all of a sudden everything changes and you have to deal with this injury. And the more that you've been in this equanimous, even-minded state of mind, the easier it is to deal with that. There's a couple of expressions which are useful here. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Or when one door closes, another door opens. They both actually can be quite true. I'll give a simple personal example. A couple of years ago, I fell badly onto a curb and broke seriously 3 ribs. And it basically took a couple of years and operation for it to fix. Yet I would say that period of time was one of the most fertile periods for my meditation, because I couldn't sleep. So I just sat for hours, and I actually got really into meditative state. So that's the, one door closes or lemonade type situation. And I came out of that in a much more positive state than going into the falling off the bicycle, which just happened really quickly. And I think I really benefited. And I didn't get the mental state of equanimity and even-minded and taking on the discomfort allowed me to be much more reflective about the nature of change, and in a relaxed way, not in a heady way. So I know, just keep an eye on time. So I suppose the upshot of this is get a regular meditation practice. I hadn't actually thought that that's where I was going, but actually that is where I'm going. I mean, I've meditated pretty much every day for about more than 50 years, and I try not to miss. I just do it, boom, whether I feel like it, I'm tired, whatever happened the evening before, I just do it. And that is a practical, in real-time example of continuity. There's a continuity of practice. It just goes on. And therefore, there's a sense of progression, which is a part of continuity. So, I can actually notice progression in my mental state, my mind state, my meditation, month on month, because of that. That I can actually say, oh, well, actually, I'm less reactive, I'm kinder, or, more aware, I babble less. Or, not that I'm babbling a bit now, but, less than before. It's all relative. I'm less silly, still silly, but less silly, and so on. So you get a sense from continuity and regularity of progress, and the difference that the mindfulness and the meditation has on you, because you get perspective on it. You can go, well, over the last, if I look back at this last year, if someone had said that to me a year ago, that would have really upset me, or, so I would have reacted a bit more aggressively, or something. And now actually I just went, you notice the changes over time. So what we're going to do in a minute is we're going to go into little breakout groups, and whether, even if you've just been meditating just for today, it was the first time, that's okay. Or if you've been meditating longer, the thing that I'd like you to talk about is like saying, well, the things I've noticed from meditation and mindfulness, the changes I notice are, and just express what the changes are. What any changes that you notice. Now, this is very different from just thinking it. It might be like journaling, where you just write at the top of the page, the changes I notice in me from meditation are, and then you just keep writing, sort of stream of consciousness. That can evoke a more conscious, objective awareness of change. But the group can do it as well, where you just start talking, and then it's almost like, oh God, I didn't even know that I thought that. It's like, in a way, you're, as much as anything, in a funny kind of way, you're talking to yourself, or hearing yourself at the very least. So just before I separate you into groups, and Jenny separates everyone into the breakout groups online, I just want to say that actually quite a bit of this is on the North London Buddhist Centre Facebook page, which is a well-kept secret, because I'm the only person who puts anything on it, which is great for me. So there's a year's worth of notes on it. So if you subscribe, I put notes on pretty much every week, how to do this, bit about. And so what we've been covering, including the exercise I just mentioned, is actually already there. So you can go, oh, so I fell asleep during that bit, but that's what you said. Okay, that's good. No one was asleep. So that's just there as a resource, really, something for you to refresh your memory.